Hi, friends. Welcome to today's message. We're going to dive right in. As I was preparing for this channeling, I got very clearly that someone needs like a kind of a congratulations. Like, I know that this is a relatively small collective that is here that tunes into these readings, but anytime I get a reading where there are like clear challenges that someone is working through, there is always some type of message about the intentional working through, like a desire to move beyond. This message I'm getting, there is still that kind of energy. There is a real desire and a readiness to overcome a present challenge, but there is just a little bit of a thing that I'm seeing. There's a little bit of avoidance or a tendency to lean into avoidance. Um, that we're going to get into. All right. I'm seeing right now a personal challenge is that you are just saddling yourself with so much responsibility. It's kind of insane. This is someone who is taking on other people's responsibilities just to make sure it gets done. You are probably seen as the responsible one. People know that you will get things done. So this could also talk about that. People kind of slacking off in their own way because they know that you will pick up any slack. But I'm also getting this is like concerning yourself so much with like the busy work kind of things, just like the daily tasks, and not creating intentional space for other things where it's kind of creating an excuse. Honestly, it's not to say that you don't have things to do, but this is like, if you know that you have another goal that requires a certain amount of time, but you aren't willing to make the space for that, this is kind of getting in that loop of having that reason right there. It's a valid reason why you don't have as much time as maybe you would like, but now we're weaponizing it and using it as an excuse to stop ourselves from doing the thing that we really want to do. I'm seeing a challenge in relationships right now that is tied to this energy, is that you are so concerned with making sure that everybody else is good and provided for and happy. This is like trying to regulate other people's emotions. This is making sure that everyone else is happy. This is about even like shouldering like emotional discomfort because you're trying to spare someone else from having to deal with the emotional discomfort. This is just all around making sure that other people are provided for, essentially, that everyone else is okay, because you are doing all the things, but there's no space for yourself here. And so it's becoming a burden where I'm seeing, there's burnout, there's just overall exhaustion, um, even a kind of feeling of directionlessness. That's not really a word, I don't think, but because this is like you're so wrapped up in always considering what someone else needs, like where are your needs if they're even on the list? Do you know what I mean? I'm seeing there is a tendency to this is where the avoidance is coming in. There's a tendency towards both indecision and avoidance, and this is like maybe even you are indecisive about taking action on things for so long that eventually it just leads to the avoidance anyway, like especially if there's deadlines. This might not be actual deadlines. I feel like there's more the stress of like potential consequences keeps you doing things in like the day to day, like especially with work, like you'll get those things done, but when it comes to whatever this is that you're wanting to do yourself, this is like, oh, well, I had all these other things to do, so I didn't have time to sit down and write today or draw or paint or, fill in the blank, whatever kind of project this is. Um, I'm also getting, I think this is, we'll get into it in another position here, but there is a little bit of a note about um, a fear of possibly being seen, of especially being perceived as like a certain kind of being, like a sexual being. I'm seeing there's let's get into this. What motivates you I'm seeing is, again, is being perceived as someone who like has things together. I feel like external observation is big for some reason. This is like either feeling like you need to have it all together, but just more on the outside. Like you need people to think that you are put together. You need people to think that everything is okay. I'm even getting on the more literal side. This is like wanting people, like you want to be attractive to people in both a literal way and a figurative way, but this is more like I'm just getting you want to always seem like you have got the goods. You don't ever want anyone to think that you are struggling in some kind of way. And that's obviously contributing to that burdensome energy that we were getting at earlier, because if you don't ever want anyone to see you struggling, then how would anyone ever offer you help? This is that hyper independence. Like, no, I've got everything, girl boss, hashtag, like all work, no play type, like whatever that weird, like there's that type of energy where you need people to think that you just have it all under control and that everything is fine. Where you will get support is in the type of people, and it's interesting because when this card came out, I was getting that these are not the type of people that you maybe want to on the surface involve yourself with. What I was getting was that this is triggering a kind of shadow side where there's this it's a need to kind of integrate a healthy dose of a certain like aspect of one's character that maybe you are not a big fan of on the outside. It seems like these are the type of people where it's like you would consider them to be maybe impulsive or selfish or ungrounded. Like there's more movement in this type of energy. There's more also a kind of like a lack of seriousness that is like the freeing kind, where you don't have to be so sure about what you're doing and how it's all gonna pan out, right? This is like maybe you would consider it to be irresponsible. Like, why don't you know? Why don't you have this planned out? Why didn't you? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But it's like these are the type of people that when they feel something, they act. When they're inspired by something, they move. When they, you know what I mean? Like they listen to themselves and their emotions, and they do prioritize themselves and put themselves first. And I'm seeing that when it's activating a kind of shadow side in you, it's because, you know, there is a lack of balance on the other end of that spectrum. And again, you don't have to be super selfish. You don't have to leave people in bad, you know, places, but part of this energy that will be helpful to you is finding support in the types of people that do prioritize themselves and that do find, you know, their wants and needs to be just as valuable um and valid as other people's, and that they understand that they deserve to take care of themselves, and that, you know, they have to fill their own cup first before they can fill other people's cups. So this is just about getting around, you know, that different kind of energy to strike that balance, because these are just two ends of the extremes where you will kill yourself for, you know, other people, and then there's a lack of care being given to the self and to your own creations and to your own will, versus the kinds of people that you need to find yourself around that will help you get, you know, more of that energy in your system, and we can embody more of that and express more of that. The decision that you know would be helpful to be made as a result of this, if all of this has resonated, this is talking about literally the Six of Pentacles is talking about evening out that scale, right? It's talking about um being more honest about how much you have to give before you kind of reach your limit, and also how much you can allow yourself to receive. This is about opening up, and there have been a few messages in recent weeks about really needing to open up and allow oneself to receive, um because the universe is behind you on whatever this is that you want to do. There is the support there, truly. This is just about opening up and allowing it, just like you, like how passionately, you know, you want to provide for people and you want to make sure everyone else is okay, and how much shit you will stand just to make sure that other people are comfortable. Like, there are people and beings and other things that play in this world that also want to provide for you and make sure that you don't have to exert yourself so much, and that you have more comfort and that you are enjoying yourself. Do you know what I mean? Understand that that energy and that kind of consciousness is out there because you are embodying it. Again, maybe on uh one end of the spectrum that isn't as balanced, right? But this is about bringing that into balance. The outcome that I see as a result of this, and just a little bit of a, not so much of a warning, I don't know if caveat is the correct word in this context, not the point, is to say that this is more about considering yourself. The warning is that I can see, there's a possibility of certain people in your life, and you would be aware of them, people that maybe are a little more entitled to your time, that would take it as some type of, like, I don't know, they would find a way to take offense to you reclaiming your time, that would take offense to you just kind of doing what it is that you need to do for yourself. But this is about you kind of retreating in a way that is like to preserve your energy, to maintain your peace, and to do what you have to do. This is almost like, and I feel like, again, we're dealing with perception here. I feel like this is the kind of, like, waving of a white flag, where, like, putting up your hands and be like, you know what, I'm done with this fight, kind of a thing. I'm done struggling with this or against this or with you or whatever the case may be, and I'm just going to walk away. It's the kind of thing where it's like it takes a very mature, almost enlightened kind of perspective to really do it, almost in a way that kind of elicits, like, again, like immature jeering from, like, whoever else is involved. Like, people, like, someone would say, like, yeah, that's like, how can I explain? It's like that kind of energy of, like, you are winning by walking away, you are winning by turning the other cheek or whatever, that kind of, like, that. But it's like, to the people around you, because they're still so immature and wanting, like, just wanting to struggle for the sake of struggle, like, they will take it as, like, they will think that they are winning. You know what I mean? By choosing to continue to fight. But that's not the reality. This is choosing, like, right now you are in a kind of lose-lose situation, because it's just you are not currently fulfilling all of the things that you want to do. So this is choosing to step away from these other obligations and these other comforts that I feel like are just that. Like, they're just kind of comfortable because they're familiar, but it's not truly what is made for you, to be completely honest. This is about being able to put yourself first. This is about being able to, you know, this is just about finding that better balance and being able to care for yourself. And also, I'm getting, like, a kind of, like, to defend yourself. This is about, um, I feel like the question that's kind of being asked here is, like, am I putting my interests over and above everyone else's? Do you need to prove to people that, like, they were wrong and you were right? I feel like the warning is just to kind of, like, again, be aware of your motivations. If your motivations are still that you need, like, external approval, you still need people to see you in a certain way. This is, and the example that's coming to mind is, like, um if you, like, experience some type of rejection as a result of, like, your physical appearance, and then you go and and I'm using air quotes, correct, like, that your whatever that physical trait was, and then now you go back to those people and you're like, see, I was valuable all the time, aren't you? Like those type of movies where it's like the pretty girl, you know what I mean, like, her glasses get knocked off and she was pretty the whole time, and now the popular person really likes her, and now she's valuable because whatever. And it's like, if you're still being motivated by the need to be accepted or validated by others, like, still doing what it is that you want to do, even though it's rooted in, like, needing that validation, is still a kind of loss. So this is about getting a little bit clearer about what your motivations are and what would truly make you happy. Because if, you know, you're still is like, well, I'm going to do this because I'll get to prove you wrong. Like we're getting closer, but we're not quite there yet. So again, just choose your own peace. Don't feel like you need some big loud win. You know what I mean? I'm going to get an oracle for you guys, and then I'll let you go. I appreciate you guys being here if you've listened up to this point. There we go. We have number 43, Vega. It says the falling eagle. Dynamism. Let's see what it has to say. Number 43. Okay, doke. It says take big, effective action. Work on improving your health and vitality. Take forward action. A period of intense work is necessary to complete something. Set goals now. Engage your talents and do not hide your great work. What do you have going on? All right, you guys, that's all I have for you today. If this reading resonated and you want to let me know, feel free to drop a like or a comment. I really do love hearing from you guys, and it helps me out over here with the algorithm. But I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.